Good evening, everyone. So we're going to report about contracts. So let's start with Article 1305. So Article 1305 states that a contract is a meeting of minds between two persons, whereby one binds himself with the respect to the other to give something or to render some service. In short, Article 1305 is about the meaning of contracts wherein there is a meeting of minds between two persons, but it can also be entered by many as long as there is this meeting of minds. May meeting of minds lang na mangyayari kapag an offer by the other party is accepted by the other. So there can be an obligation with no contracts, but there can no contracts without an obligation. So common sense lang yun, no? And let me see. All contracts are agreements, but not agreements are contract. Okay, so is it necessary that a contract must be in writing? The answer is no. No, because if we're going to go back sa Article 1305 states there that meeting of minds. Of course, except those contracts na nire-require ng batas na kailangan masulat like sale of land, equitable mortgages transfers, equitable mortgage, transfers, or shares. So, for example naman sa mga contracts na di kailangan masulat is those verbal contracts na nangyayari mostly, mga informal contracts. Kunwari, ikaw and yung friend mo is mag-split up sa bayad ng rent or so yun, basta generally, it's not necessary na nakasulat ang contract. So we have stages of making a contract. First is preparation or conception. So this is preparatory step pa lang to or it's like bargaining point pa lang to. May nag-offer pero hindi pa nagkasundo, so in short, there is no meeting of minds here. Pero tapos after ng preparatory na to or bargaining tapos nagkasundo na yung both parties and there's already meeting of minds, we have perfection. So ulit sa perfection na to, there's already meeting of minds. The parties came to an agreement. So for consummation, the parties need or have to perform their respective obligations kung ano man yung meron sa kontrata na yun. So next is the classification of contracts according to formation. So first is we have consensual. So consensual is perfected by mere agreement of parties. So most contracts are consensual. For example is buying something at store or renting an apartment. Next is real contracts. So these real contracts, this type of contract requires not only an agreement but the delivery of the object of the contract. So, for example, is loan. Hindi kumpleto yung contract hanggat hindi binibigay ni lender ang pera kay borrower, no? And it's also the same with deposit. So, for formal naman, these contracts needs formality para maging valid. Like written documents, notarization, or registration. So, for example, is a will or testament. Another is mortgage. 'Di ba kailangan may mga kasulatan yang mga yan. So, next naman is classifications of contracts according to cost or equivalent value of prestation. First one is onerous. So, if we say onerous, there is an equivalent compensation between the both parties. So, for example, is buying candy at store. You give money, you get candy. I give you the candy. Both parties here is giving the same value. The buyer gave the money or the price, and then the seller gives the goods. So there's an equivalent compensation. Wait lang. So number two, for gratuitous naman is ang isang party dito ay walang matatanggap, no? Kasi it states that without any equivalent compensation. So magkabaliktad yung onerous and gratuitous. Ang isang party dito ay walang matatanggap. For example is donation. The donor donated without receiving anything in return. Parang ano lang, giving gifts sa my birthday. You give without receiving any equivalent compensation. So number three naman is remunerative. So this is for service previously rendered. For example is um treating your friend a food because tinulungan ka niya sa assignment mo nung nakaraan. 'Di ba sinabi dito previously rendered. Nilibre mo yung kaibigan mo dahil tinulungan ka niya sa assignment mo nung nakaraan. Let's go to the next. Okay, so next is classification of contracts according to parties obligated. So here we have unilateral. So unilateral is obligation for only one of the parties. Isang party lang yung may obligation dito. For example, nanghiram ka ng bike sa kaibigan mo. So of course, you have the obligation to return the bike. Ikaw lang may obligation dun. Gets? Next is bilateral is um both parties may obligation. Both parties have an obligation. So for example is a seller. Um may obligation siya na i-deliver kung ano yung binili mo sa kanya. For example, sa Foodpanda, 'di ba, nag-order ka ng babayaran mo. Ay, nag-order ka and babayaran mo, 'di ba? Tapos siyempre yung rider i-de-deliver naman sa'yo. So, kayong dalawa may obligations kayo. Okay? Next naman is classification of contracts according to designation. So we have nominate. So nominate has a name and is regulated by special provisions of law. So ito yung mga kontrata na may pangalan sa law like sales, loan, or insurance. Next is innominate. So kapag naman innominate, these don't have specific names in the law. So pag-uusapan natin ito mamaya sa Article 1307. Nominate, innominate. Magkabaliktad lang yan. Nominate, may pangalan sa law. Innominate, walang pangalan. Meron, let's tackle this later, okay? Okay, so Article 1306. The contracting parties may establish such stipulations, clauses, terms, and conditions. As long as it's not contrary to law, morals, good customs, public order, or public policy. So, sinasabi ng 1306 na to na parties are free to stipulate anything. Nakasunduan. They can stipulate anything na nagkasunduan nila as long as it's not contrary to law, morals, good customs, public order, or public policy. As long as it's not something illegal. So, for example is vote buying. Nagkasundo kayo na babayaran ka ni kapitan basta iboto mo siya. That is contrary to law and public policy. Hindi pwede yan. Yes. So, ayan, 1307. Innominate contracts shall be regulated by stipulations of the parties, by the provisions of Titles 1 and 2 of this book, by the rules governing the most analogous nominate contracts, and by the customs of the place. So, if we say innominate contracts, these are the contracts na yun. Walang pangalan sa law. But this article ensures na kahit walang pangalan ng isang contract sa law this it is ano yan, legally enforceable. So these are the four kinds of innominate contracts. Number 1 is do ut des. I give that you may give. You swap your apple for your friend's orange. I give that you may give. Next is do ut facias. I give that you may do. You pay someone $50 to wash your car. Number 3 is fashu ut des. I do that you may give. You babysit your sister, and your mama gave you a new phone. Number 4 is favu et facias. I do that you may do. So you help your friend to move to her new apartment and she cook for you in return. I do that you may do. Okay, so Article 1308. This is commonly referred as the mutuality of contract. So it says here that the contract must bind both contracting parties. Its validity or compliance cannot be left to the will of one of them. Okay, so this is based on the equality of both parties. Okay, so ito we have an example here. Si Ganda and Pogi. Okay, so this Pogi is working for Ganda. And then, sabi ni Ganda, babayaran lang kita kapag gusto ko. So here, there is no mutuality of contract. Yan. Kasi nga, di ba, nagwo-work tong si Pogi kay Ganda, pero sabi ni Ganda, babayaran lang kita kapag gusto ko. Walang mutuality sa contract nilang dalawa. Pero kapag may mutuality naman, ganito ang mangyayari. Yan, di ba? Nag-work ulit si Pogi sa kanya. And sabi ni Ganda, you will work for me and I will pay you 1 million a month. And then, Pogi agreed. Okay, I agree, sabi niya. So, dito, may mutuality of contract na. There is mutuality of contract. Pero yung first na example, wala. There's already mutuality of contract between them. So, next, Article 1309. So, yung sinasabi ng 1309 na to is, you can let a third person to decide. Parang siya ang papagitna sa inyong dalawa ng kontrata mo. So, example again. Yan. For example, si Pogi. Nagbebenta siya ng lupa kay Ganda. Yan yung binebenta niya. So, sabi ni Pogi, my price is 50 million. Sabi naman ni Ganda, dahil barat siya, can we make it 100K? Sabi niya. Tong si Ganda, barat, pero tong si Pogi, overpriced naman. Hindi sila magkasundo-sundo sa price. Kaya, kumuha sila ng real estate appraiser, which is the third person. Ayan. Siya yung parang magbibigay ng reasonable price sa lupa na yan kasi nga hindi magkasundo-sundo yung dalawa. Okay. But of course, the decision of the third person isn't yet final kapag di pa alam ng dalawang parties. Tapos kapag nalaman na ng both parties yung presyo and nagbago yung isip nila, either si Pogi ayaw na pala ibenta or si Ganda ayaw na palang bilhin, okay lang, pwede pa rin nilang i-cancel yung kontrata nilang dalawa sa lupa na yan. Okay, Article 1310. 1310 ba? Okay, Article 1310. So, Article 1310 is an exception to Article 1309. Sinasabi ng Article 1310 na 'to na kung yung third party niyo na nagdesisyon is unfair yung decision or hindi makatarungan, in this case, courts can decide. Yun. In such case, the courts shall decide what is equitable. Yan. Courts can decide. Kapag yung third party is unfair yung decision, courts can decide. Next is Article 1311. So Article 1311 states that the contract generally only affects the people who made it, also with their ears and signs. It is the principle of relativity. Ito, yung na-underline na to. Contracts take effect only between the parties and their assigns. It's the principle of relativity. So, ang ibig sabihin nito, kung sino man yung parties na nasa contract, sila lang ang may rights and obligation with their ears and assigns under the contract and hindi kasali ang mga third party doon. Sa kanila lang effective yung contract na yun. That's what the principle of relativity means. But of course, as usual, may exceptions to, then we will give the example later. Pero magbibigay muna tayo ng example of principle of relativity. Ayan, yung definition niya. Binding only between the parties who enter into them their assigns and ears. For example, si Pogi may utang kay Ganda na 1M. Then si Ganda na to, bigla siyang nategi. So, yung gagawin ni Pogi, magbabayad siya sa ears and assigns ni Ganda. Yan, yung mga ears and assigns ni Ganda. Diyan magbabayad si Pogi kasi nga namatay si Ganda and yun yung meron sa contract nila. Yun. Yung bayad ni Pogi ay ibibigay sa mga ears and assigns ni Ganda. Okay, so if we're going to make it the other way around, pag si Pogi naman yung namatay, so ayan, may si Pogi ulit, ayan, may utang kay Ganda, tapos biglang si Pogi yung namatay. So, ang mangyayari dito is, the heirs of Pogi will pay Ganda the 1M. Kasi effective rin sa heirs ni Ganda yung effective sa heirs ni Pogi yung kontrata. So, yun. Provided naman na merong natitirang properties si Pogi, so ito yung properties ni Pogi na pwedeng ipambayad kay Ganda. Yun ang ibabayad ni heirs ni Pogi kay Ganda kasi patay na si Pogi. So, if naman kulang sa 1M yung properties ni Pogi is, the heirs are no longer personally responsible with that. Kasi let's read the last sentence sa first paragraph. The heir is not liable beyond the value of the property he received from the decedent. Ayan. Pero if both sa kanila ay walang heirs or assigns, depende na yun kung anong meron sa kontrata nila or either the law will govern. So, here are the exceptions na sinasabi ko. This is wait, let's read again, okay? Para these are the exceptions. Except in case where the rights and obligations arising from the contract are not transmissible by their nature, or by stipulation, or by provision of law. Wait, let's go back to the example. Yan. So this is an exception, not transmissible by their nature. So dito, napag-usapan ni Amboy and Ambot na ipipaint ni Amboy yung portrait ni Ambot. Kaso si Amboy namatay. So by nature, that obligation is not transmissible. Hindi pwede na yung heirs and assigns ni Amboy na lang ang gagawa dun. Hmm. So next naman is not transmissible by stipulations. Okay, sila yung example. Okay, so ito. Yung by stipulations na nasa usapan mismo ni Amboy and Ambot na hindi transmissible ang usapan nila sa kanilang heirs and assigns. Nasa kontrata nila mismo na yung napag-usap ay yung nasa kontrata nila mismo na hindi transmissible sa heirs and assigns nila kung ano man yung meron sa kontrata na yon. So next is by provision of law. So ito naman, it's just simply mean na yung batas mismo nagsasabi na hindi transmissible yun. So for example is partnership. Pag namatay ang isang partner mo sa partnership o partnership mo sa business, automatic na may extinguish na yung partnership nyo. Hindi pwedeng yung heirs ng kapartnership mo na namatay ang papalit sa kanya. That's not transmissible. Okay, so again, principle of relativity of contract. Ang ibig sabihin nito is silang ang may rights and obligations under that contract. Sa kanilang effective yung contract, those parties. Hindi kasama ang hindi parties sa contract na yun. So, let's give another example. Okay, ito. So, tong si Miss Baton, binenta niya yung sasakyan niya kay Miss Liwan on installment basis. Tapos, meron silang agreement na hindi pwedeng ibenta ni Miss Liwan yung sasakyan sa iba hanggat hindi pa nababayaran ng full amount kay Miss Sibaton. Tapos, itong si Miss Liwan naman, later on, hindi pa natapos pabayaran ni Miss Liwan yung sasakyan kay Miss Sibaton, binenta niya kay Mr. Guapo. Now, contrary na yon sa usapan nila. So, question, can Miss Sibaton cancel the contract entered into by Miss Liwan and Mr. Guapo, itong dalawa na to? So, answer is no. Why? Because Miss Sibaton is not a party between the agreement of Miss Liwan and Mr. Guapo. So, ano ang remedy ni Miss Sibaton dito? She can claim for damages from Miss Liwan, which is the breach of contract. Kasi may usapan nga sila na di niya pwedeng ibenta yung sasakyan, pero bininta pa rin niya. Ayun. So, wala siyang right na i-cancel ang contract between Miss Liwan and Mr. Guapo because that's the principle of relativity. Hindi kasama si Miss Sibaton sa usapan ni Miss Liwan and Mr. Guapo. But he can claim damages against Miss Liwan for the breach of the contract. Okay, so for paragraph 2 naman sa 2 paragraphs kasi yun. Ish. Ayun, for paragraph 2 naman is this defines the condition under which a stipulation for a TUI is valid and enforceable. If stipulation for a TUI kasi is it's like special part of a deal ng contract wherein someone who isn't part of the original agreement gets something good or magbe-benefit siya. Punta tayo sa example na yun. Ito. Okay, so here, this is an example of stipulation for a TUI. Sinabi ni, ito, Mr. Pasion sa anak na if you get good grades, I will buy you a bike and will donate 100K to your favorite charity. So, yun nag-agree yung anak niya. So, yung charity na yun, who isn't part of the original deal, ay magbe-benefit. But of course, may exceptions rin yan. Ni-ensure ng stipulation for a TUI na or yung paragraph 2, ni-ensure niya na that it's not just any accidental benefit. Oh, yun, accidental benefit to a third party. The benefit must be clearly intended and accepted. Article 1312. So, Article 1312 is an exception to principle of relativity. Kasi it is said here na the third person is bound by contracts creating real rights. Okay, ito example. Ay, naku. Ayan. So, dyan, si Baguan nanghiram ng 10 million kay Miss Adonis. Si Mr. Baguan pinang-collateral na yung bahay niya. Ito. And of course, that land, that house is registered to the Registry of Property. Since owner pa rin si Baguan ng kanyang bahay after niyang i-collateral kay Miss Adonis, since gipit pa rin siya, binenta niya yung bahay niya na kay Luis na naka-collateral kay Adonis. And dahil merong pre-existing rights of mortgages, Luis will be bound by the contract between Baguan and Adonis. Luis need to respect the right of Adonis kasi yun ang sinabi ng Article 1312. So, Miss Adonis still have the rights. Pwede pa rin niyang kunin yung bahay kahit na binili na ito ni Luis. Kung hindi makabayad si Baguan. Ano, nagigets nyo ba? So, next. Article 1313. Creditors are protected in cases of contracts intended to defraud them. Here is an example. Si Pasiwan may utang kay Baguan na 50 million. Si Pasiwan, he only have his one valuable asset, ito, na lupa. At yun na lang yung tanging pambayad niya kay Baguan. At dahil ayaw niyang ma-attach yung lupa niya, binigay na lang ito kay Kugasi, knowing that his action will prevent Baguan from recovering the debt from Pasiwans from his remaining assets. Now, ayun, na-defraud si Baguan. But Baguan can go to the court and ask for rescission or the cancellation of the contract between Kogasi and Kasiwon. Okay? Article 1314. Any third person who induces another to violate this contract shall be liable for damages to the other contracting party. So this is again an exception to principle of relativity. Yan. So an example here is si Miss Adonis. Si Miss Adonis and tong si Luis. May kasunduan na ibebenta ni Adonis yung sasakyan niya kay Luis ng 5M. Then meron tong si Bagwan. Alam ni Bagwan yung kontrata ni Luis and Adonis. Tapos si Bagwan, inalok si Adonis ng twice ng price ng car. And it's 10M. Then under this article 1314, Luis can file against them. Luis can file against Adonis sa paglabag sa kontrata nila, and she can also file against Bagwan for the Bagwan for inducing. Next is 1315. So this sinasabi lang nito na this article simply states that the contracts are perfected by mere consent, which is the core principle of the consensuality. Yan. So this simply means na valid and binding lang ang contract once na both parties agreed to its terms. Ayan. Principle of consensuality means that when parties agreed on the subject matter and terms of the contract is considered formed and binding, regardless of whether it's put in writing or formally executed.